What is up, fellow student anglers? Welcome to another episode of Student Angling. On today's episode, we're going to be going over something that is a wide topic, a topic that can be really confusing and seem really complicated. And hopefully after this video today, you'll understand a little bit more about paddle tail swim baits. So in today's 5-minute Monday tip, I'm going to be showing you how to rig these things in order to catch more fish more often. Number one, and I think this is by far the most common, the Texas rig. Now obviously you can do this with any kind of soft plastic, and that does not exclude the paddle tail swim bait. With this, it's going to look like the swim bait's chasing something through the water. It's going to look like it's feeding off the bottom, and my favorite part about it is it's all but weedless, and it'll go through grass, it'll go through cover, and you're not going to lose as many baits. You can either do it weightless like I have here, or you can add in a little bullet weight like so, and boom, you got a weighted bait that is just super versatile and super fun to throw. Number two on my list is rigging it with a jig head. Rigging a swim bait this way is extremely effective when it comes to hookup ratios. However, I think it's pretty obvious that you're gonna get a lot more snags when you use this bait. Some people like it because they feel confident when they're hooking into a fish that they're not gonna miss it. I'm not so sure. I lose a lot of baits. I fish a lot of weedy, a lot of brush-filled lakes. With that jig head, you're just gonna get hung up a lot more. Another good thing about a jig head though is that you can pop it off the bottom and it just looks like it's a feeding bait fish, just nosing into the dirt, whatever's down, looking for little tiny microorganisms to feed on, and it looks really realistic that way, which is a huge pro to rigging it this style. Next up is the weighted swim bait hook. And so as you'll notice with all these baits, I have really small swim baits on here. You wouldn't always throw a small swim bait like this. I'm only doing that so you can see the hook and see what's going on, and so it's a little more clear. What we have here is a weighted swim bait hook. Now what this does is it just gives it a whole new action. It gives the bait a little different balance. If you stop the bait and just let it fall, it's just gonna sink down like so instead of nose diving down, which can kind of trigger a different reaction. Depending on the situation, it might be better than say a weighted jig head or a weighted Texas rig. Just gives the fish a little something else to look at. And usually with these, the fall rate is a little bit slower than you're gonna see with a jig head or, like I said, a weighted bait. Another pro of these is, again, like the Texas rig, extremely weedless. You can expose it just like I have here, and it just makes that bait awesome for going through grass, cover, whatever you want to throw it in. Finally, we have the underspin. This is probably my favorite way to throw a paddle tail spinner bait, because not only do you get the benefits of a jig head and that style of rigging it with the exposed hook for great hookup ratios, but you also get this awesome little blade underneath. And obviously what that's going to do is just cause a lot more thump. It's going to cause a lot more flash and really just draw those fish in from long distances. So if the water's murky, definitely throw this bait. It's going to call those fish in a lot more effectively than just a normal paddle tail swim bait is. It's a great cold water bait. It's a great springtime bait. I highly recommend throwing it. With all these baits, they're gonna have a similar retrieve. It's gonna be either a steady retrieve, a stop and go. Really, you can be super creative with these and just do what you think the fish want. It's a bait you need to feel out. It's a bait you need to just do what the fish want. Pick up subtle clues that the fish give you, whether it's a bite, whether it's a hit, whether it's movement in the water, and fish the lure that way. Try to mimic what the bait fish around are doing, and you're gonna have the most success. That's gonna do it for today's episode of 5-Minute Mondays. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below, as well as questions. I'm always ready to answer those. Yeah, as always, leave me a like. I really appreciate it. Subscribe, fish hard, learn more. I'll see you in the next episode.